Right, okay. Treasure and trophies. We've had a little chat about this, but I just want to make clear what is the difference between treasure and a trophy. A trophy, for me, trophy, I'm referring to, this is more like a girlfriend. Trophy is something you show off, something that's nice, something you parade around with. You may pass it out, it gets given to the winner, to the one who's at the top at the time. Where treasure is something that's a bit more scarcity. You hide that away, you don't flash that about. You dig that underground and you keep it safe for all your life. So for me, that's wifey. The difference between treasure and trophy is treasure is wifey and trophy is your girlfriend, really. So a bad girl is exciting and expensive, but it's exciting. But a good girl, that's priceless and that's timeless. That will be with you forever. But the bad girl, that comes with an expiry date. I want to talk about this because we are in the West. Lots of STDs in Europe and what have you, saying it how it is. We've got the big main one, which they say happened in Africa, the AIDS. But I think the people that are behind the the cough medicine are behind that as well. But we'll wait and see. So 4 types of women. This is just generally, I'm just kind of giving it in a nutshell in terms of almost like an archetype you can stick typical Western women into. And if we're Western, then we may fall into them brackets as well. So you've got your divine woman. Your divine woman, she's a hard one to find. However, if you get her, you got her for life. Then you have what I call the regular woman. Then you have, I'm going to call her a floater for now. You can call her what you like, but I will describe what a floater is. And then you can kind of make up your own name for her. There's many names that do get given to her, but as now, I'm just going to call her a floater because she kind of floats in between these kind of 4 archetypes. So you've got your divine woman, your regular woman, your floater, and you've got your outright whore. The woman who just sleeps around, does what she wants, flashes her body, and just has no real kind of, I don't want to say no self-respect, because obviously there's something there for her to make her do it in the first place. So, but I want to come back to the floater, this floater woman that I'm talking about. The floater woman, she's not a whore, however, she wants everything that comes with being a whore. She wants the attention, she wants the cars, she wants the men, she wants the flashes, she wants it all. The only thing she don't do, she does all of it except sleep around. So she can have that kind of upper hand of going, well, I've got all of this, but I'm not a whore. And this floater should be the first one that when she sees a woman sleeping around, should be the first one to go, ugh, whore. Should be the first one to put her down. But deep down inside, she came about because she got pissed off with the whore taking everything. And the regular woman wasn't really kind of confronting her or batting her, just going, right, I'm a regular woman. So this one in the middle has come up, where again, they want all the attention, all the lifestyle, all everything. They do everything except sleep around. And when other women sleep around, they do name and shame them. So that's what I mean by the floater. These are the 4 main archetypes. In terms of it might come across as a little bit, what's he getting at? But again, saying it how it is, women using their sexuality and prostitution, it's one of the oldest professions that have been around. And when you know how easy some men are to manipulate through sex, you're going to use it. So they're the main 4 archetypes. And again, this day and age, we do, with our relationships or with them kind of relationships, there's a lot of business going on. It's a business transaction almost. I love you if you love me. I'll buy you if you buy from me. I won't sleep around if you don't sleep around. Relationships have become a business now. Women are naturally more vulnerable, so they will kind of seek a partner opportunistically. Let me get that right. Why? Because that's the way it's been back in the past in time. The only thing that is changing that now is the single parent benefit. Before, a woman needed to depend on a man for X, Y, and Z. Now the government's handing out money to single women. It almost encourages them to go, you don't need a man. But I'm kind of going, you do need a man. A woman can raise a child to a boy, but she can't turn that boy into a man. You need a man to turn that boy into a man. And I mean a proper man. Otherwise, single household statistics, they speak for themselves. You only have to look them up. But one thing I have said as well, if you live in a civilized society and it collapses, the main thing every woman should be aware of and be aware is the one thing that does go out, especially in these war-torn countries where the women speak. Rape goes up. That's one thing you need to be aware of. And if you're kind of calling for, if you got a certain kind of persona or look or what have you, I'm not saying it's more likely to happen to you, but kind of sometimes, again, statistics speak for themselves. Sensuality and sexuality, you will find in a civilized society. In terms of just outright brute sex, they're the more kind of, not in the great society, saying it how it is, but in a civilized society, there will be sensuality still, but it'd be more subtle. It doesn't have to be so, that's all that exists. Back in my days, we made that as though it didn't exist. Now, this day and age, it almost comes across as that's all that exists. So, lust is quick, love is slow. In lust, the man does dominate the woman. The woman lays down for the man, and the man has, and the desire to be desired is what's happening. Love, that's a whole nother ball game. Love is not about being dominated. Love is about give and take. Love is both. It's a mutual exchange. There's a lot more going on. A lot more psychology. A lot more having to be present. Where lust can be just very visual. It doesn't have to be anything else. But before you do start having sexual relationships, I would say be in a loving relationship. First, form your friendships. Be in a loving relationship with that person. Once you love that person, then it makes sense to move on to the next step, which would be to make love. However, be in a loving relationship first. Create the friendship first. Have the foundation there first. So you've got something to build on. If you're building on lust, that's temporary. That doesn't last long. As soon as the relief comes for both partners are already thinking about who's next. That's how bad it's got. A woman who thinks a high body count doesn't matter is a bit deluded. Otherwise, you would openly admit it. But some of them, you know, and there's some women out there who will make men fight over them for the attention. You know, oh, he looked at me. He done. Why are you not fighting for me? Well, hang about. How much opportunity are you giving this other man to look at you, to touch you, to have a conversation with you? How much are you allowing him to flirt with you? And if you're allowing him to do all of this and then you expect your man to fight over you, what kind of woman are you? You want men to fight over you? Really? I would fight for you, but I won't fight over you. I would fight for love, but I won't fight for lust. Absolutely not. You crack on. Right, okay. Again, women's intuition, you know, is meant to be better than men's. If that was the case, while the unwanted pregnancies, while they're sleeping around with all the wrong men, and in some respects, in talking about women making men fight over it does kind of raise a question: who is more violent? And naturally, I think people would go, "Oh, men are definitely physically more violent." However, you look at what women do in terms of verbally, how they can cause so much destruction, ruin a woman's reputation. Where was I going? Yeah, they can ruin a woman's reputation, and also infanticide and abortions. Who does most of them? It's not the men. I'm kind of going, that's very violent and vicious acting in some respects, but it's not men that are doing that, it's the women. And in terms of pregnancy, one thing I would say, I'm going to bring this in a bit, but don't sleep with a man that you want to be the father of your kids. If he's, whether you're being a father to your kids, okay, fair enough. But if he's not, why on earth are you sharing your body with him? Childhood traumas. That is really, in terms of love, you're not up against the love she shows you. You're up against the love, her childhood love. You're up against her childhood traumas. So an adult love sits here, but a childhood love sits there. So as long as you can kind of recreate some of that childhood love, you can kind of mimic them same bits that light up in her brain. That's what she's kind of looking for as well. So she's from a very traumatic background. She may want a very traumatic man to mimic some of these situations and scenarios, so the brain keeps lighting up in them parts of the brain. She's just repeating patterns, basically. If that's all she knows, if you've seen your dad beat your mum up or cheat on your mum, or well, you've got to think that's normal to a degree. That brain kind of accepts what maybe comes with it, or what they think comes with marriage. In love, if you're in love, if the man's in love, he can't cheat. I would say it's impossible. When you're in love, you're just so blissed out and everything. How can you possibly think about another woman? And if he's thinking about another woman, I wouldn't call that love, maybe lust. And if the love does change, if any love changes, it was never love. If love changes, it was never love. It was something else. Attraction sparks a flame, but devotion keeps it going. So attraction, what you see, it might be great. Again, that gets the ball rolling, but it's devotion which keeps that log burning. If you don't burn the log, it's going to go. Truth and freedom is the highest form of intimacy. That's how, for me, that's the highest form. And you can be very truthful with someone, that you can be completely free and liberated. Be able to express authentically yourself. Now, one thing I will say, with a lot of women, they think sexual liberation is expressing your authentic self. I'm free, I can sleep who I want, I'm not being dominated or controlled by a man, I'm free. I'll get that to a degree. However, that comes with responsibility and accountability. For every action, there's a reaction. And one thing I would say is, if you are generally free and authentic and be able to do all these things, but as long as you can authentically say to a man, yeah, I've slept with these men, as long as you can be honest, raw and naked, and go, yeah, I have slept with these amount of men, then I'll get it. But if you're lying to men and you're still ashamed of your body count, is sexual liberation really freedom? I don't think it is. I'm kind of going, wait, that's setting you up. This third wave feminism has set up a lot of women for failure, in my opinion. This is why I have to get my little bit across, going, right, if you look and watch TikTok and see Mr. Tate and this, that, I want to just get my piece in as a daddy and go, look, this is my point of view, this is what I want to say. So freedom, understand, again, for every action there's a reaction. The same way you're interested in a man's future, whether he's got ambitions, whether he's this, whether he's that, motivated, strong, that's the same way we look at a woman's past and go, what was she like? Now, if you got a dodgy past, I'm sorry, but for me, that's a case of, it's a case of you should end up with a beta. But I think an alpha man would struggle to be with some of these women that do generally, again, I don't know what they are, but yeah, an alpha man will very quickly establish what he wants and his boundaries, and a lot of these women would fall away from him. The divine woman and even a regular woman all day long, but anything after that, you kind of got your work cut out a little bit. Yeah, your body's a temple, it's not a brothel. Energy exchange is real. What happens is real, stuff that gets stored in your DNA for 10 years or whatever. The stuff that's coming out now, going, look, when you have sexual intercourse with a person, it's not just the physical, there's a lot of other things that are happening. So again, yeah, I've said, don't be with someone who you will want to be the father of your children. Yeah, and this whole I can do what men do. You can't do what men do. It's a case of, look, you're a woman. You're meant to be the grace of God. Personally, this is my personal opinion, a woman can only really love one man true. She'll have that one that she goes, he's the one. Where with men, I think they're wild, a little bit different. I think they're capable of loving more than one woman. I think biology speaks volumes. When a woman gets pregnant, she stays pregnant for 9 whole months. A man can carry on impregnating other women. So you have to understand the biology of it is, once you are pregnant, that's 9 months you're out of action for. And with regards to a man, if a man wants to have multiple families and he sleeps with that one woman, he knows that that one woman has got his kids and he can have a number of families. However, if a woman starts sleeping around with different men because she wants a big family, how are you meant to justify that to your kids when they're older? What are you meant to say? I'm not saying it don't work, but one thing I will say, single parent thing, it happened, but it wasn't meant to happen. The society's not designed for a woman just to bring up a kid by herself. That's why you have a man and a woman that makes a baby. It's not just a woman who produces a baby. If it's just a woman, I'll get it. As a woman, you need a man and a woman. They both play a massive part in the upbringing. But again, it looks like it's the 4 archetypes I wanted to go and really just give you a little dabble into and go, look, this is typically, you got your divine woman, you got your regular woman, you got what I called your floater, and you got your whore. So these are the 4 typical, in a nutshell, that's how I see it. And again, so maybe some people may not agree with my opinions or what have you, but this is where I stand for now. And just to finish off, I will give you a proverb. The wise woman builds her house, but with her own hands, the foolish one tears hers down. So be aware of your body. Be loving to yourself. Love yourself first before you love anyone else. If you can't love yourself, don't attempt to love anyone else. So it's going to end in some horrible way, more than likely. And live life and love. Be expressive. Be joyful. Have your freedom. But understand, again, one more time, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. We are all loving beings. Let's try and love as much as we can. And with that, let us know the difference though between lust and love. Most men will lust over you. They won't love you. Will they be paying your bills and taking care of your kids? That's the first question you need to be answering. There will be another video, and we're going to go into marriage on the next one, so I will elaborate, but this was literally just for kind of what happens or can happen before marriage, and what I see as the kind of section, looks like the 4 archetypes of women that you do get to choose from here in the West. So I want to just make this video again. West, we need to be aware of statistics here, STDs, this, that, the other, and yeah, let's be safe and let's keep it real. Peace.